today's top stories in the world of science and tech with CTV science and technology expert Dan Riskin. Dan, happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. So there was a planetary snuggle in the sky yesterday with two planets, Venus and Saturn.
Yeah, and they're still pretty close together in the sky. So tonight, after the sun goes down, just after sunset, look to the sky where the sun has just gone down and look for that bright planet Venus. And you'll find a less bright dot next to it. That's Saturn. They're very close together. Last night, they were within a full moon of each other. But they're still pretty close. I mean, in space, they're still, a light hour apart. They're quite far. They're 800 million kilometers apart. So there's lots of space between them in space, but they're lined up just nicely. So it's just something to look up and see and point at when you look at the sky tonight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'll have to, tell my son that. He's a big space fanatic, and I'm sure astrologers will have something to say about that too, maybe.
I'm sure they will.
Planets aligning. All right. And, Dan, we've been talking about how we know exercise is good for mental health and stress, but a new study suggests that spending more time in green spaces outdoors could help reduce prescription drug use.
Yeah, this is nice. I mean, if going outside and being in nature is good for you, you should need less medicine. That's the idea behind this study. And lo and behold, that's exactly what they found. This is a study in Finland. 7,000 people basically filled out a questionnaire about how much time they spend in nature and what medications they're on. And what they found is people that go out and spend 3 to 4 visits in nature per week, getting out and going for a walk in the woods or next to the water or whatever. It's going to decrease your need for mental health prescriptions by 33%. It's going to decrease your blood pressure medication use by 36%, and it's going to decrease your use of asthma medication. So if it were a pill you had to take, ironically, everybody would take it because it's so good for you. It reduces your need for medicine, but it's not a pill. It's just going outside. But what's really important here is you have to go outside. It's not enough to have a view of nature out your window or to live close to nature. It's the people that go out and spend time in nature. So get out there and spend some time outside. It's really good for you.
Yeah, you really got to breathe in the trees. Maybe trees can come in pill form one day, or maybe you just munch on paper.
Little wooden pills, exactly.
Beavers are healthy, right?
Sure.
Okay. Anyways, turning to this, Dan, this is interesting. Scientists revealed a surprisingly simple task that could reignite the spark in your relationship, and it's not purchasing edible undergarments.
Well, I'm not saying that hurts.
Okay.
That is still something you can consider. But this is a different study. This one, they took people, they filled out a questionnaire about their partner. And these are all people who had been in a relationship at least a decade. So, perhaps the honeymoon phase has passed and they're looking for ways to keep things alive. People had they filled out the questionnaire, then they went into a brain scanner and they saw images either of just pleasant things or of their partner. And they had their brain scan. And when you see pictures of your partner, your brain lights up in really nice ways. Lots of love connections and things like that in your brain. And then when you come out of the scanner, you fill out another survey about how you're feeling. And it turns out people that looked at pictures of their partner felt more in love. They felt closer. So this is this hack you can do if you want to keep the spark alive. We all have pictures of our kids on our phones or our pets. Put a picture of your partner on there and, make a point of taking some time to look at pictures of your partner. It's going to make you love them more. It works.
Wow. I love that idea. No, it kind of attests to why when I look at old photos of my husband when he was in high school or as a kid even, I feel so much more love toward him. Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that, Dan. Really great stuff.
It's a pleasure.
CTV
Thanks
science and tech expert Dan Riskin. We'll chat with you next Monday. Thank you.
One of the city's most famous stewards of the music business, Cardinal Official, is taking his talents to the storied record label Def Jam as the new head of global artists and repertoire. Cardi, welcome to CP24 Breakfast.
Good morning.
Yes,
Thank you for having me. You see, I put on my leather pants early in the morning.
Just for us. We appreciate it. So congratulations. Tell us about this new position.
Oh, man. Listen, it is amazing. For a kid that grew up on hip hop here in Toronto, in Canada, and when you're younger and you're seeing all these people, T. La Rock, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, and then it just keeps going on to include like DMX and Jay-Z and like all your favorites, and you're seeing this label, the label itself, and there's not very many, but it literally became a part of the DNA of hip hop. So when I got this opportunity now to join as, the global A&R, like for me, it's it is like, it sounds cliche, but it literally is a dream come true, because it's like I now have the opportunity to have that incorporated into my legacy, you know what I'm saying, as well. So it's like I'm having the most amount of fun. And if you think about it, like some of the biggest artists in the world, from Rihanna to Bieber, but then to 2 Chainz, Benny the Butcher, and everybody else you can think of, like we're just working with just some of the most incredible talent from around the world.
So how did this happen? How did this opportunity come to you?
You know, listen, I'll be honest, you know, shout out to Canada where, you know, where I first started to get my chops. But the thing is that I've always had a global network. So I've never been somebody that was just restricted to just Canada. You know, I have roots in the UK, in France, in Africa, in the Caribbean, and just pretty much anywhere where hip hop is. And, you know, shout out to my good folks at Universal over in America. Like, you know, this opportunity came up, and to be honest, I was like, yo, I'm all in there. And short, quick story, the CEO, shout out to Tunji. Tunji, when Dangerous came out, Tunji was actually the intern at Interscope Records. So imagine when Dangerous came out, he was the guy, and I'm not making fun of you, Tunji, but he was the guy that was getting people coffee and sodas and just starting in the industry. Now is the CEO of Def Jam. So you got to treat people right. You got to treat people right out there, because you never know who is going to be that guy that's the next powerful person in music.
What a story.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're looking for in new artists, new developments.
Honestly, I'll be like, we live in a day where it feels like artists come out and they burn within 6 months. Like there's somebody that has that viral TikTok moment or whatever, and we're talking about them now, but then 6 months, you know, our kids are like, that was a few months ago. I'm looking for that global superstar that we'll still be talking about on this couch 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So literally, it's like I'm talking today, but I'm going to the UK on the weekend, and I'm gonna spend some time over there, a couple of artists that I'm looking at. And then I'm going to LA to go, you know, during all the Grammy, blah, 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 I'll be over in the States. And, you know, we've signed people, like, since I've been there, you know, I'm working with artists literally from around the world, from Texas, from South Africa, from London, from Jamaica. So when we say I'm a global A&R, it's truly looking for the best talent no matter where they come from. How
do you find them?
Different ways, you know, different ways. I can't give away all the sauce. But I mean, honestly, it varies, because sometimes it's like, you know, for instance, my first signing over there, I found her on Instagram. You know, a friend of mine is like, hey, you should check this thing out. And I went and I was like, she's incredible. And, you know, I just stuck with it. And to be honest, the funny thing is, organically, she grew to where Diddy became a fan, Pharrell, Maxwell, Timberland, all these people. But the thing was, like, I found her first, and we developed a relationship. And then, you know, when I went over to Def Jam, she was my first signing. So stories like that, it is those quote unquote fairy tale stories, but they do come true. I just think that you really have to be, for me, I don't know about the other people, but for me, you have to have a worldwide talent. Anybody that I sign, as you look at them, you'll be like, I understand why Cardi signed them. It's not just gonna be because they went viral and did something crazy to get people's attention. For me, the core of it has to be talent.
Thank you so much, Cardi. It's always a blast to have you
My pleasure.
Our house. Thank you for coming.
Okay, well, we have certainly started to see the impact rising rates have had on the housing market, but what's been the big question for homeowners and home buyers in the current environment is really this. Should you go variable or fixed rates on your mortgages? That is a big question right now. Leah Zlatkin is a mortgage broker and expert at lewisrates.ca. She joined us live in studio this morning. Leah, great to have you in here.
Thank you.
I could talk mortgages all day because it's a fascinating product. And, you know, people, as you said, don't ever stop buying homes. It may have slowed down a little bit, but the business is still going on. So we're expecting another quarter-point rate hike today. I think we all kind of agree on that. So let's get beyond that and talk about then what's the advice that you're giving to people. If someone calls you in the morning today and says, hey, Leah, I want to buy a house. Is it variable? Is it fixed rate? How would you go through this with someone?
Yeah, so absolutely. There's a lot of people that are still looking at buying right now. We've seen the market slow a little bit, but obviously it's picking back up. The spring market is bound to be a little bit hotter than it's been in the past. And for somebody who's looking at buying a home, you have a couple of considerations to make. So the first consideration you want to make is, what is the longevity of your risk? So for somebody who's looking at buying, I'm certainly not recommending variable right now. Definitely not recommending a 5-year variable. So at this point in time, what I'm typically telling clients is you either want to go with a 5-year fix if you want a lot of stability, but my personal preference would be for people to go with a 2 or a 3-year fixed. The reason why you're going to want to go with a 2 or a 3-year fixed is that it's going to offer you that security and shelter for the next 2 to 3 years to hopefully ride out this volatile rate environment. At the end of that point, hopefully rates will be lower and you'll be able to renew into a lower price product. So a very good, variable or fixed rate at that point in time. But based on today's rate environment, bond yields have been going down a little bit. Again, still very volatile. Variable rates are obviously going up today. So if you have a variable rate and you're a current mortgage holder, you better stick with your variable. It's a little too late to switch over to fixed at this point in time. But for somebody looking to buy, 2 or a 3-year fixed.
Why is there that hope, Leah, that maybe in 2 to 3 years that things may be going down? What's the sort of projection or forecast that you kind of look at and say, hey, you know what, it's likely going to get better?
So a lot of the economists are saying that once we deal with this inflation, the variable rates will start going back down. So obviously right now, the Bank of Canada has been increasing the Bank of Canada overnight rate steadily for the last 8 consecutive announcements. And what we're seeing is they're trying to really stomp out inflation. So in doing so, when we look at the latest inflation reports, inflation is down, but it's still not gone. And you're seeing it in the grocery stores, you're seeing it everywhere else. You want to see that actually come to a stop. So what we're likely to see is we're likely to see a hike now. We may see a hike on March 8th. And then after that, what we're likely to see is we're likely to see a hold pattern for the next 6 to 12 months. At the end of that, once we know that inflation is truly gone, then the Bank of Canada may start adjusting down. But we really don't know if that's going to be the case. And with volatility the way it is, you may see, oil prices start to hike or something like that. That may affect variable rates as well. Whereas fixed rates, the bond yield is based on the securities in the system and whether they think that it's going to go up or down. And so we're starting to see bond yields come down. And ideally, the 2 to 3 year trajectory is that everything will be much more stable, inflation will be gone, and we'll start seeing rates come down again.
So what has this meant to your business? We only have about 30 seconds left, but we saw such a crazy real estate market for the past couple of years. Just personally to you, how has your business sort of evolved over the last sort of 6 months or so as we've seen this rate hike period?
Yeah, so last year was the busiest year for every single mortgage broker in Canada. This year has been a little bit slower. It's a lot more refinancing, a lot more people just looking to switch lenders, some people moving away from their variable products. But in general, we have seen a little bit of a slow in terms of purchases. There are still lots of people buying, though. And even on the weekend, I talked to a couple of my realtors. They're actually seeing lineups at their open houses. So the market's coming back, I think.
Interesting. That's a lot of psychology, too, from the buyer side as well, I suppose. Leah Zlatkin from lowestrates.ca. Great to talk to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Honey, you remember my agent, Sarita Darby?
Of course. Darby. It's been so long. You two look like sisters.
Sisters. Only a little, and in bad light.
Your mom's new Bryn Martell thriller is being released this week. Have you read it?
You know what? Darby is too busy catching real criminals to read my books.
Oh, come on. Your mom is one of the top mystery writers on the
All right, well, meet your new favorite duo, the Spencer sisters. Or are they sisters? We'll find out. Leah Thompson and Stacey Farber star in a brand new CTV original drama series that premieres on February 10th at 9 p.m. And for more on their mother-daughter partnership, not exactly sisters, but they're often confused as sisters, we're joined by Leah Thompson and Stacey Farber. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
This is so exciting. Congratulations, by the way. I managed to watch the first 2 episodes, but I'm not going to reveal too much because it's not coming out yet. I don't think I've seen a show with this premise. A daughter, you, Stacey, who's an ex-cop, Darby, reluctantly teams up with her estranged mother, international best-selling novelist, Victoria Spencer.
The fabulous.
Right, to form a private detective agency. And their worlds really collide, right, Leah?
Yeah, it's such a great... When I read the script, I was so excited about it. I was so excited to play this character because she's so fabulous and fun. It's like everything I wish I could be. Like you are. But I am wearing. Oh yes. but also she kind of just says whatever is on her mind. And then Stacey's got such a great sense of humor, and it's a drier sense of humor.
Yeah.
And so I think the two work really well together.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the chemistry in this show, like just watching you two on screen, it's so authentic, and it feels like there's no beat that's like off. You just get it, and you know your humor with your mother in the show is quite on point as well.
Thanks.
I mean, today we have Leah wearing her blue suit, but on that show, you were just saying, you know, your mom tells you to get out of your military drab, and you're like, what? So I can look like a Swedish Airlines hostess?
Yeah, we're very different, but in real life we get along so well, and we got just so lucky. I mean, I think that's such a win, and it plays. I mean, we get to improv a bit when we're on set, and we just love each other a lot.
That's so
It helps.
That's so good to know.
It really does, because it's it's such a close relationship.
Yeah.
We're always working together, and I
Long
just
hours.
fell in love at first sight.
Aw,
Look,
so you do.
That's Sheena Punim
She is
there.
adorable, but so you do
My
like
dad's
each other in
watching.
real life, just to confirm.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we do. We
Okay.
do.
No cattiness in real life, even though there
No.
is that mother-daughter on screen.
She's a lake girl from Minnesota, and so when we were filming in Winnipeg, we went swimming all the time.
Oh, wow.
And just like very low key. It's Hollywood, but the good kind.
The good kind of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that's the show. It's a feel-good mystery show.
Yeah.
Each episode has a mystery that you want to solve. The first one deals with plagiarism, but with a far more nefarious undertone, which you guys do solve.
Yes.
But I just want to get to, you know, how the overarching theme of this is really that mother-daughter relationship, which we can all relate to, right, Leah?
Yeah, I think so. It's also I think the kind of central question of the show is, can a mother and daughter work together? Can you work in the workplace together, and can you see each other as adults, you know, in that way,
And forgive for things in the past that bring up feelings.
Yeah, no, it does deal with that.
My husband watched it and he cried.
Aw.
He cried in the pilot.
So we've won already.
won.
That's what we were going for. Thank you, Howie.
Yes, he's very sentimental and he loved it.
Yeah, and you know, Leah, looking back at, you know, the 4 decades of your career in film and TV, I was telling you, I saw you in Howard the Duck, Back to the Future, All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise, and you've been in TV as well, you know, Caroline in the City, and now this. So how does Victoria Spencer, playing her, fit into, you know, your career in terms of the characters you've portrayed? Is she something totally different that you've had to channel?
I think she's an amalgamation of a lot of things, but in a lot of ways she's like my mother, who's not with us anymore, but I'm kind of channeling her because she was fabulous, said whatever she wanted to say, did what she wanted to do, and had a lot of gusto about it. And that's the kind of character, but you know, I feel really happy to have a character like this, because a woman of my age oftentimes gets a very tiny kind of throwaway part, but this is really,
this is major.
I love the way that they that our showrunner wrote it.
Yeah, it's very smart, very sassy, very funny. Stacey, okay, before we let you go, I think we only have a few minutes left very quickly, but this show is about solving mysteries and cases. I want to know, is there a big mystery in your life that you wish Victoria and Darby could team up to solve for you, and what is that?
So we only have like 20 seconds,
Oh,
right?
okay.
No. I have to think. A big mystery, yeah.
What's that?
Who am I going to end up with in life? let's turn them into matchmakers and have them go out and like find my person.
Well, there is that at the end of the season. That does kind of happen.
There is
a big
that.
mystery.
There's a doctor. There's a catch in town. And my friend Caitlin Lieb actually plays Lindsay.
Love her.
Yes. She told me to say hi to you ladies, and she loves you both as well.
She's so great in this.
We love her so much.
That's
she was
awesome.
awesome.
Okay, that is so cool.
I hope she's watching. Hi.
And so there's a special preview this weekend, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You're
Oh
the-
no, I've
she's
got
the date
okay.
person.
You've got the date.
times.
Yeah.
So Sunday, The 29th at 10 after football, special preview.
Okay.
Come on,
then
guys,
and
two
then
redheads.
Yeah.
Stick around,
What more
man.
could you want?
On fire.
Then the premiere is Friday, February 10th at 9 p.m. And then we'll be on Friday nights after that.
Yes, and each episode's like almost an hour long, but it's just around a time. It goes by quick because it's such a good show.
Oh, good.
Leah Thompson, Stacey Farber, thanks so much for joining us on CP24 Breakfast.
Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of the show. Can't wait to watch it.
Thank you.
Never fought with Whitney like this, ever. We have had big disagreements, but she has never looked at me and called me a liar, ever. And that's like a pretty big accusation about a pretty stupid thing. Don't call me a liar. You called me a liar.
All right, it's been quite the season on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Plenty of drama, conflicts, and some pretty hilarious moments as well. Joining us live now in the studio is Heather Gay, cast member of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and also an entrepreneur, a working mom, and so much more. Heather, welcome to Toronto. Welcome to CP24 Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love Canada. I'm so excited to be
Oh,
here.
I love it. Well, you're wearing, some of our Canadian
I'm trying to represent a little
colors.
strange brew,
And you
whatever
said
I
this
can.
is because your luggage got lost.
Yes, I
Oh my
lost my
gosh.
luggage. We had a little bit of difficulty with the snowstorm, but
Oh, okay.
you guys have great shopping here in Toronto. It was not a problem. We pulled it together.
Well, you've managed to pull off a very good Canadian look. I
Thank
love
you.
it.
It's a nod.
Yes. Heather, let's talk about season 3. It's wrapped up. You guys had your reunion yesterday.
Yes.
And, the big question from that reunion was, the big narrative was how you got your black eye.
Right.
And you addressed it yesterday, finally.
Yeah.
You said, hey, I don't know myself. So go into a bit more of...
Well, yeah, I woke up with a horrible black eye and
Mm-hmm.
no evidence of how or why I got it. And I thought, well, certainly there's cameras everywhere. If you're going to wake up with a black eye, the
Mm-hmm.
safest place to do that is on reality television, where there's cameras literally mounted everywhere. And we thought we had figured it out. And didn't play out well on television, but as the clues came out of how we got it, they said there was footage. So we just kept waiting for the footage to be revealed. And they ended up never revealing the footage.
Yeah, and you were kind of playing detective yourself by being a little evasive and vague about it, saying, oh, I think you guys know what happened. Maybe one of you should tell me what happened.
Right.
But in all honesty, you were trying to figure it out, and you still don't know, do you?
I have no idea how I got it.
Wow.
I had a theory that I hit it on a cabinet 1,000 times, but probably, we couldn't talk about that or talk about other ways. There's big waters and a lot going on behind the scenes and off camera. And my black eye just kind of became a topic that probably shouldn't have.
Okay, so the producers didn't egg you on to continue that storyline. It just organically was
I should have
that.
gone home when I woke up with the black eye
Yeah.
or gone to the hospital, but I stayed and filmed, and it just did not play out well on television.
Yeah, and Andy even said, and you agreed with him, that it did look like assault, which is really troubling if that was the case. All right, well, Heather, thank you for your honesty there. Let's talk about another big narrative of season 3 is, of course, your friendship with Jen Shaw, and we know that now she's been sentenced to 6.5 years in prison for telemarketing fraud against the elderly. I need to ask you one question about Jen, which is, where does your relationship stand with her today after you were kind of her ride or die throughout, the season?
Yeah, I was absolutely Jen's ride or die. We were on a show together. I had brought her onto the show. We were friends, and she was pleading her innocence, vehemently to all of us every single day. And then once she pled guilty, really everything changed. And now I'm just focused on her making restitution to the victims, a lot of collateral damage with her friends, the fallout with her family, and, just hoping that she can get this taken care of and rebuild her life.
Okay. Heather, looking at season 3 as well, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from season 3?
Don't drink too much and black out.
Okay.
That should be a takeaway from every season of Housewives. But also that the cameras change people and they change relationships, and it's really hard to keep real relationships on reality TV. And that's something that was hard for me to realize and kind of a cold bucket of water in the face. But no one gets through unscathed, and I'm just happy to be a part of it and hope to see kind of how those relationships evolve, because now they're happening on camera.
Okay, Heather, very exciting. You've written a memoir called Bad Mormon, and we were speaking, during the break, and you said you no longer identify as Mormon. I want to talk about why you wrote this book, and who do you think it's for?
The book is primarily for my daughters because I was breaking a chain of generations that go back to, 4 or 5 generations back. We were ox cart pioneers that were converted by missionaries in England, came over on ships, sacrificed everything to build this Mormon community in Utah. And that's my ancestry. That's my extended family. I have 50 first cousins. We're all Mormon. And if I was going to leave this church and break this change and blot my name out forever, I wanted no stone unturned. I wanted the story to be put to paper and it to be my own.
Yeah, okay. Heather, really quickly, you once said that the one beauty product you can't go without is Botox. What's the one quality you can't go without in a friend?
Humor, sense of humor.
Okay, we're best friends then, Heather.
Great, I'm excited.
Same with me. Okay, Heather Gay, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having
Look
me.
forward to reading your new book. It's released February 7th. Take care and enjoy the rest of your stay in Toronto.
Thank you.